What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show. So if you've listened to me at all, you know I don't necessarily have the most respect for New Year's resolutions. And it's not because I have something against goals, obviously. It's because tying them to any ceremonious date puts too much pressure on them and makes them less likely to be achieved. So I'm actually on the side of goals, but I'm on the side of them being achieved. And if you don't believe me, then check any local gym in the beginning of January and then check back in February. The reality is, if you did all those things that you tied to your New Year's resolutions and stuck to them, you would be quite a different person than you are today, wouldn't you be? So let's just be for real about it. New Year's resolutions don't work. So if you are still going to tie some things to your new year as a new beginning, as I admit I'm probably going to as well, I want to at least offer some of the things I'm going to hold myself accountable to as a bare minimum, which I'll post to you as questions to answer, as things to adhere to. What is one thing you can commit to do, that you can do, that you will do every day for the next 365 days of the next year? And I don't care how big or small it is. I don't care if it's as simple as high-fiving yourself in a mirror daily or something else extravagant. The point is, this thing that you choose to do every day will serve as a connection of commitment to yourself, and one that will be a reminder that you have a choice in the matter in life. And if you can stick with even the smallest of things for the next 365 days and see yourself, witness yourself, be the person who does even the simplest of things like tapping your left toe 5 times when you wake up. I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. But what it will remind you and be a reminder of is that you are in conscious control. And if you can add such a simple thing, then what more degree of complexity can you add and commit to and stick to, and might also compound and shape your life that you have the choice to be doing? So one thing, at the least. If more, tag along throughout the year, then even better. But even if you regress and go through rough patches through the year, never compromise on this one thing that you choose to do, that you choose to commit to. And it will serve as your reminder, your talisman, your totem of reality, that you can always have a choice in the matter. And in that can also be a source of pride and hope, because you are someone who is actually making the choice daily. Even in the smallest of ways, you have the power. That's one thing you can start doing, is just doing one thing. Just one thing, one simple thing for the next 365 days. Secondly, if you want to advance from that, I would ask myself the inverse of that question, to signal some of the same source of the power, but to add a compounding effect of what is already committed to in the opposite direction. Now, this is obviously a step harder and a step up from adding something, because on top of that, I'm asking you now, secondly, to give up one thing. What's one thing that you are so used to doing today, that you have built into your week, that you can test and do without for at least one day each day of this year for the next 365 days? Again, the job of this thing will be the same as reminding you of what your power is and where your control is. But now you are enhancing, adding something by removing something that is hurting you and doubling your efforts. It's 100% increase on your efforts, doubling of your efforts, if you add something that you need to be doing and remove something you shouldn't be doing. Just one thing on each direction. And third, and not at all least in priority, forget the physical doing things and taking way of doing things. And I would have started with this, but it feels less tangible. Position first. What's one thing? This is the third thing that you should ask yourself. What's one thing that you will choose to remember about yourself on a daily basis for the next 365 days? This is not a doing, not a taking away, but a thought, a thinking. One thing that gives you power. One thing that reminds you who the fuck you are. Who the fuck in you that should never be questioned. What's one mantra that you can repeat? One reminder. Not a lie, not an exaggerated truth. Instead, an undeniable truth about yourself that you can repeat and remind yourself on a daily basis to give yourself a baseline above rock bottom that you can never fall below. So when the worst of days come and all of you leans towards discounting everything about you, this will be your bedrock, your saving grace, your undeniable truth. To remind yourself who the fuck you are at all moments and repeat it and remind yourself of it daily. This undeniable part of you that needs no false facade propping it up. And while you are asserting yourself with the first two habits, the adding and the giving away of something, this one will keep you from ever falling too low. A protection, no matter how bad things might get. If you do plan not much more grand for your entire year, but these three things, one thing to add, one thing to subtract, one thing to think, all on a daily basis, chances are you will have a much more grander year than most your resolutions that start out strong and fizzle out. Start out with the thing that you are willing to do every day for the entire year. One thing you are willing to do without for the entire year, actually willing. And one thing you will effort to remember, to remind yourself of on a daily basis. And maybe tied to another trigger to be reminded of it daily. I guarantee your year will be 10x ahead of what any other hard planning for your New Year's resolutions and your dreaming will get you. And if this is not your speed, tune into the next episode. Maybe I'll discuss some more tactical, specific things to build into your goals for the next year. Love you, family. See you in the next show. Hope you had a great Christmas.